Hey, good morning, superstars.
Morning.
It's so nice to see you again, Charmaine.
I know. Back at home.
You feel right at home. So, welcome to the Karen Howe TV show series 21, which is like week 21. And you'll find our prior series, so 1 to 20, will be on Karen Howe YouTube channel if you want to go back and reflect and enjoy the ride there. So welcome and thanks for joining us at the Reconnection project, as we now have called it. So that's where we come from. Before we begin, though, I want to acknowledge the traditional ancestors of this land and the world, as we are all connected. We ask for their permission and we acknowledge them for sharing our one goal, which is for unity and connection. Oh, that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. It's one goal. It's not a lot to ask for, is it?
Yeah. Unity.
So our topic that came through for this week was all about Phoenix rising from the ashes. Look at him.
Woo! It's gorgeous.
It's amazing. I'm feeling I'm on fire. So well put by Curek Ashley in relation to this. In order to fly, you have to let go of the world that you're hanging on to, the world that once was, and it's changing. And if we don't change and adapt with it, we're going to get left behind. And we're not going to come out of it very well in regards to our health. So the Phoenix rising is about in times of doubt and confusion, which is what we're experiencing right now. The whole world, not any one person, is left out of this. It symbolizes strength, transformation, and renewal. How good is that? Who doesn't want to feel that, Charmaine?
Globally right now, for sure. If we can focus on that more than what's happening.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
Rising, coming out stronger from an adversity. Massive. We all know it is. We all know there's a lot of fear around this at the moment. But only from the ashes, from who we were, can we rise up to become who we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. It's different for all of us.
Yeah. Last week we talked about the fear that we're experiencing, and now we're talking about where we wish to be, like from this all.
Yeah. And if we stay where we are and don't stand up for ourselves in what we believe is going to hugely impact our own lives. And I'm not talking about fighting over whether the sun's going to come up tomorrow, whether the grass is greener, or, why is the sky blue? And, those things that really are not going to create fear in our lives. They certainly are questionable, but we won't go down that path. We're talking about rising from adversity, jumping both feet into the fire and coming out the other side, living a full, true life, yourself, for yourself, by yourself, or with your community of people. So I'm Karen Howe, for those who don't know me. As you can see, I'm passionate about inspiring people, and I want to reach as many globally as I can to help them see their full potential, to leave them feeling more alive, enabled rather than feeling stuck, so disabled. And for many of you that know me, I'm actually an advocate for a disability community with our son Dylan. However, this is actually quite apt, because I'm not just talking about one community. It's people that are feeling stuck and they're feeling disabled.
Yeah.
It's just a word.
It's global disconnection. So we're
global disconnection. Yep.
Yeah, we're the Reconnection project.
And that's where we're coming from. Yeah. So to think outside of the box and not being limited to the life that is or was, however you perceive it. To embrace change. It's going to be the most healthiest thing we can do in our lives, to embrace change and not be fearful of it.
Always.
However, it will be scary. Know this. What's the worst thing that can happen when you make a change or a decision? That's scary. What's the worst thing? Think about something you've done and it's really scared the crap out of you. But then after you've done it, you've gone, wow, I feel so liberated. And that wasn't anywhere near what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to die from it or something drastic. You know, you think something terrible is going to happen.
What terrible could happen if you don't make that change?
And where I discovered a lot of this for myself and a lot of, what we're talking about here is I actually journaled every day for years. I created inspirational quotes. I knew there was more out there in life. I knew that there was something else and something was just not sitting right within me. So I had to explore that. And from my journaling and my quotes, I then wrote a book, Reclaim Your Life, as that's what I did and continue to do and stay on my path in my truth. I found who Karen Howe was, or what I was here to do, not just to be a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister. No, to come back to who I am.
You reconnected with who you really are.
Reconnected to who I really, truly am.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of this coming out of the rising from the ashes. It's finding your inner strengths.
Yeah.
It's there. And who wouldn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to live that life, to feel alive, to feel energetic, to just want to conquer things in their life and not be afraid?
Yeah.
We know, though, however, from all this, and it wasn't for me, and it still isn't. It doesn't get any easier. But if we don't do it and start somewhere, it won't be easy. But with love and faith, we can certainly find our way back to our authentic selves. Who doesn't want that? So what gives rise to you, Charmaine? I'll hand it over to you. I've probably done my bit of talking. So introduce yourself and what this gives rise to you.
Yes, I'm Charmaine Livingston, and I'm the same. I'm all about reconnecting and connecting people and reconnecting your heart with your mind. And through my work, Soul Frequency Feng Shui, I help people, families, and businesses to heal and harmonize their lives by healing and balancing their energy and the energy around them. And it's all about reconnection. Everything is about energy and reconnecting energy, not separation. Yeah, it's all about one and one coming together.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you do an amazing job in what you do, girlfriend. You have found your thing in life, your purpose.
Yeah.
And, when you do actually discover your purpose, because that is what we're all about. When you think of nature and what it's here to do, it has a purpose. It doesn't stop to think about what, others think of. They just go about doing what they need to do. So Phoenix rising, I looked at the definition. Phoenix from the ashes, meaning to emerge from a catastrophe, stronger, smarter, and more powerful. And some examples, I guess, when you think about someone who opens a successful business after the previous business has failed because they've not given up. They've just
burnt down.
Hey?
Or burnt down. I've known a couple of people whose businesses have burnt. So they actually physically have risen from physical ashes.
Yeah, that's
to become better.
To become better. They've not allowed themselves to stay down.
Mm-hmm.
So through massive change, it's required them to step up and come out stronger and find a path of their choice. That's what this is about. Some choose not to, as they haven't reached that point in their life yet.
It's hard to jump that fire.
Yeah, and sometimes you just can't quite grasp it. There's no right or wrong, as we always say, no right or wrong. If you've got a fork in the road, you go left or you go right, there's no right or wrong. Just make the decision. So you get to choose.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's all about choosing, to jump into that fire and rise above your challenges and the global challenge. So the way I see this week is, we all know the hero stories in every movie about reaching an amazingly free and enlightened place, or just, a state of being after facing immense adversity, fear, and challenges. you know, like the Wonder Womans, Avatar's my favorite, Divergent, Titanic, and there's a lot of true stories around, like Believe Me and Antoine Fisher and more. And you know, if you see the theme and the pattern in all these stories, it shows the perseverance and the resilience of that was staying true in the face of fear of losing everything, you know.
Incredible.
You know,
that's the key.
yeah.
You know, people spend their lives going, what if I lose my job, my house, my partner, my family's respect?
Yeah, that's a big one. You know, like what if everyone rejects me and says you're a liar or something like that? But right now,
your point is,
yeah, like, but right now, you know, the world is going through massive destruction and a realignment for the good of humanity. So how are we going to act? How are we going to contribute or non-contribute, you know, to this whole situation? Again, I bring up the movies because we see movies like 2012 and Titanic and every other natural disaster movie as well. And you'll see how people's true character come out when they're faced with fear. You see the people down in the aisles of the shopping centers punching other people for toilet paper, trampling over people because they are fearful. And
it's actually quite sad, really. But
yeah, and then there's others who, you know, will just choose love and try and help as many people as they can, and buy extra toilet paper just to give it to the people that missed out. So that is the choosing of fear of love, even when your survival seems like it's taken away, you know. Like,
yeah,
another example that I love to bring up is when they profile flight attendants to be flight attendants, they're not just seeing how well they're good at serving drinks and hospitality. And it's kind of sad how flight attendants are never given the credit for what they're actually qualified to do. So they're just given the drink, they're abused and all that kind of stuff, but they're actually qualified on how they're going to act in a plane crash. So when they profile flight attendants, they want to know if they're going to be calming people in the face of death and showing strength, or if they're going to be throwing children over their shoulder screaming, we're all going to die. And these people that become flight attendants, they know how they're going to act in this situation. And that's what I respect and admire about these people, because you know, they're qualified to act with love and in that kind of situation. And I love that. So I love just, you know, so you can see the way they act when they're faced with all the stuff on the news and all the stuff that's going on. Lots of people run in fear and lots of people stand up and protest. And, you know, so that's what we're talking about here. How are we going to act? And often in these stories, you'll find that the powerful people at the beginning, using Titanic again as an example, they often crumble or show cowardly, inhumane acts to save themselves. Cowardly, like you see a lot with the toilet paper and stuff. And then the underdogs, or the lay people, the people that choose love and stuff like that, they end up being the heroes as they risk their lives to go back and save others. You know, the firefighters that go into that building, which they were taught never to do, to save one more person because the building's going to collapse, but they go in anyway. And this is what we're talking about. These are the heroes. These are the people that will rise from the ashes, like, you know, like the phoenix, and become stronger than before. Because you know, we're witnessing history right now, and how you know, how are we going to be remembered in this amazing time? You know, it's an exciting time to be alive. Some people are calling it World War III, you know, like the silent World War III as a chemical warfare, and other people see it as the beginning of a golden era. And, you know, I believe it's both. I believe, you know, one can't happen without the other. So yes, right now you get to choose love or fear. And those who love and help and save by bringing together, by reconnection, and by, you know, supporting others will rise from this, will rise stronger than before. And those who choose fear and separation and you know the anger and the fear towards people who aren't doing the right thing and they want to hide away in the face of great challenge, will, you know, they're not going to end up in an empowered place as
Right.
those that choose love in this situation. And like if you were the only person that survived the Titanic, you're the only person on that lifeboat because you trampled over everybody else, how would you feel? Like, do you feel like you're really alive at the end? Like, so we all need to come together as as one in this situation. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And look, even though that seems really extreme,
Yeah,
on a smaller scale, it can happen. So I guess it's asking the question, would you, I'll just use an example, I suppose. Would you save a person's life? Would you support somebody through dark times?
yeah,
It's the, would you be there for that person? Because it's really quite interesting about perception too, if I was to bring that into about a situation that's happened to me in the past, where I've been told I always think of myself, and I'm like, probably right, actually. However, and in the day, it might have been seen in the context that they viewed it. But now for me, I think of myself to enable me, to strengthen me, to allow me to be in the right space for that person that needs my help.
mm-hmm.
So yes, 100% I think of myself, but I don't think of myself in the context of get out of my way.
Not as in a selfish way.
Because really the trampling people, or the people, and I shouldn't say the trampling people that have that fear and are not prepared to help others, or don't even know they're not prepared to help others. They don't know until they're in the situation. But have a think about it on a smaller scale, even, what you're prepared to do for other people.
Yeah, without, say, if you're just going to help someone and you're in fear of being judged by the people around you,
Yes.
That's a hero moment for sure.
So that's probably what we need to ask ourselves, what we're prepared to do, because then that just demonstrates where you're at in your life. What do I need to work on? And that's what I needed to do. I could have just sat there and stayed where I was. I know for a long time, Charmaine, I wouldn't stick my neck out because it would get chopped off all the time. I'd be, who do you think you are? You have, talking about a topic you don't even know about, or what about what's happening over here? You got a short memory, and it's like,
yeah. Whereas I would constantly stick my neck out and always be expressing what I was saying. But, I was over time very alienated and very judged, and, masses of family and people would say that you're wrong, but,
Yeah. And the thing is, we talk about that. So in terms of where you're at in your life right now, if you're feeling stuck and you don't know whether to move here, or you keep going back in the past and it keeps that keeps repeating itself, you've got to ask yourself the question. It's what we're about is just sharing content and experiences and opportunities for us to be able to go, like when you watch a movie, you take something out of that movie. Wow, you could have heard it 10 times before, but right now, that makes a whole lot of sense. In terms of just at that moment, you heard something. So I guess I couldn't just sit there and be worried about having my head chopped off, or somebody saying you're a show off, or who are you to say. I had to just put it out there anyway. And I just now, and I've used this term quite often, I have a healthy disregard for other people's opinions now, particularly if it's not going to align with my values and beliefs.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, if something was said out of context or but that's not what we're here doing anyway.
No.
So we're here sharing, but I have very strong values now. I always had them, but I have this self-awareness now around them and why they're important, values and my beliefs. And I've discarded any of the ones that don't serve me anymore, that I learned that, you can recite things and you go, well, that doesn't make sense. Why do we use that quote or that saying?
Yeah.
Instead of going, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. Thank you. Bye-bye. On your way.
Yeah.
So
I guess if you're on the fence and you're thinking, I do feel this way, but everybody else I know it says that way is not the way to go. I guess we're reaching out to those people where you're not alone, that it's okay to believe in whichever way you wish to go. No right or wrong, that you'll have support for going out on your own, that you're not on your own. And just because everyone says that you should go this way doesn't mean you still shouldn't follow your heart and go the other way. That's what we're saying, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know when I don't speak, I actually get a bit of a lump in my throat now because I'm already on this path, and it's almost like the universe is going, you're not getting out of this now.
It's physically uncomfortable if you don't.
Yeah. So I literally would get a lump in my throat. So damned if I do and damned if I didn't. You know, like if I didn't speak the truth, or if I spoke the truth, I was ridiculed. If I didn't speak my truth, then, you know. So it was like I knew deep down I needed to speak the truth, but I actually knew that I needed to articulate it and it to be constructive, for my own self-expression, you know, for the good. But I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
I just could not sit back and go, I'll just let everybody else, you know, go about their merry way, but watch them and go, I wish I could stand up and be that and do that, or good on them for that. You know, they're saving us, you know, like those kind of things, like they're speaking up for us. No, be a part of that, but be a part of it. I'm being a part of it in my own way, in the self-expression. There's just
however you contribute.
Yeah, so many people doing it in different ways, and it's amazing what we're seeing out there right now. There's always going to be a little bit of not so good, but that's life, right?
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of not so good when we think things are good. It's just, anyway, yeah.
And there'll definitely be movies made about in the future about this time, you know.
There will be.
Who's your character going to be?
Go down in history.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and it's not any one thing, even though it's been made out to be. It's bigger. You know, like the old paradigm. It's moving into the new paradigm. It's like change and adapt, change and adapt, change and adapt is the best thing for all of us.
Yeah.
Because we can't control it. We're trying to keep controlling it.
Yeah.
What the changes.
Yeah. We can only sort of control the way that we react to it. And yeah, like, so I guess whatever you believe in, whatever you feel in your heart, I guess we're saying that follow that, and not to be swayed by social media. There's a lot of people being told what is true and what is false, and what is false is true, and it can all be overwhelming. So if you know who you are and you're connected in your heart, you won't ever be swayed by social media or mainstream news. You can just follow what you believe, and even if there's a mass of people saying what you believe is wrong, just know you're not alone. And you know, how does it feel true for you to act in this moment? Do you get that lump in your throat when you didn't speak up and you feel uncomfortable because you feel, I'm not following my true path here, I'm doing the opposite because of fear? And so I guess that's what we're saying. You know, if you just stay connected and stay strong, you won't be swayed. So whatever you stand for.
Yeah, you get to choose.
Yeah.
But make sure you stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. I love that quote, and it's so true. You just fall for everything. You'll just accept and believe everything you hear.
Yeah. So we're not on one side or the other.
No.
We're sitting neutral, and we're just, you know, we're watching everything play out. But if you don't stand for something, you are going to fall for everything on the news and victim to the fear, you know, campaigns and stuff like that. So stand for something, and follow your heart when you do.
And one place I started was back in 2017. The best decision we made, and as a family, is we turned the television off. And you know, people say, oh, did you hear about such and such? No. Did you know the Olympics were on? That's crazy.
Well, you can turn it on just to see what's going on. But if you get the idea of the news and the fear campaign is to trigger an emotional response. So if you're getting an emotional response, my dad used to turn the TV on, and he used to yell and scream and spit all over the screen and point his finger at it, and what was right and what was wrong. And was getting an emotional response. If that's happening, yes, turn it off. But
yeah,
if
just be discerned. Yeah,
but you can turn it on and just go, oh my God, like I can't believe that. And you know, that's how they're projecting this. And you know, you have an above awareness of what's going on, and only believe what you believe.
And just choose what you choose to listen to. That's what I did. I mean, we obviously watch movies and documentaries and, you know, do other stuff. But I do more writing. Jeff writes his music. You know, we do other stuff. There's so much more we can do with our lives than just.
There's a multitude of information coming in. Don't just believe the TV. Just take it all in and take what you believe is helpful to you and leave the rest.
Yeah. Yay!
That's our message.
And stay connected. All of it.
Yeah, reconnection. Yeah.
I've actually got a couple of, I got about 4 network things between now and the end of the week. So I'm going to be doing a lot of connecting, between Thursday and Friday. It's pretty amazing. I'm a bit of a social beast, but so I do love getting out amongst the crowd. But, you know, I do work out sort of where I spend my time now too.
Yep. Reconnecting people.
Can't get it back.
Yep.
Anyway, loves. All right. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Oh, I feel like I'm in a dark space. Yeah. I've been sitting here having a bit of a giggle to myself too, Charmaine. I feel like angel wings on my back.
I love it. Yeah, it's like you've stepped in the fire. You are the Phoenix Rising today.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Charmaine, for your input too. Always very interesting talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
Having you on here. Yeah, I love it. And look, please, feedback. We love feedback. You know, if there's a particular topic you want us to touch on, because this is all aspects of our life. We just touch on all areas, and, you know, something might appeal to you, something might, you know, if it does, it does.
No judgment and no blame or no right or wrong on our part. Just always just reconnecting and sharing.
Yeah. And we are coming from love space.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'd love to connect with you soon. So thank you so much. And we will catch you on the flip side. Same
next
time.
Week's topic.
And rise from those ashes.
Yeah.
It's not woo-woo. Go and read up about it. Watch some of those movies. Get some triggers happening. You know?
Yeah. Inspirational.
Inspiration. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Okay. Ciao for now.
Everyone. Bye.
See ya.